Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is make a blank file that is 11.5. I don't think it's recording my voice. I hope not. And there we go. Then we're going to take this guy right here and we're going to select him. And sometimes the smart quick selection tool might help. And then you can take the other tool. Otherwise, you can go up to, I can deselect as well. And you really want to select really, really good when you select this guy, because if you select bad, then you're going to have 6 bad selections, because you're going to duplicate this guy 6 times, or whatever it is you're doing. You're going to duplicate it 6 times. I have to do a better demo than normal because this is the one that I'll post online, so that if anybody like needs another demo, they can watch it. You know what software you can use to speed up your demo? Does iMovie speed up? Does anybody know? That's a Mac thing. What the heck? Oh. Where did his leg go? Oh, it's his sock. Okay. Sorry, this is going to take a little longer because I'm under pressure.
Why are you under pressure?
Because I'm being recorded. Almost done. All right. So then once I've selected that, then I'm going to select the inverse, which selects my guy. And then I'm going to go edit, copy, and I'm going to go down to I'm going to drag my background, which I found in Old Alley. Drag that onto here as my background. And again, remember, you don't have to have it exactly like this. Just because it's like this doesn't mean I have to have that because it came off the internet that way. I can totally go like this and have it closer. Look at the cat down there. I can have it off to one side, which usually makes things more interesting. Which side do I like? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I'll do it like that. Now I'm going to go edit, paste, and I'm going to actually check my edges by using my close-up tool to see that I got it pretty good, because if not, I'm going to have 6 of those and they're going to look icky, and I can't believe I did as good as I did. Okay, so probably the bottom of his shoe could use a little bit of erasing, but not really much. I did pretty okay. All right, so now I'm going to duplicate that particular guy. But I have to decide, is this the size I want? I probably want a little bit bigger size. So I'm going to do this. And now I'll duplicate him several times. 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 for good measure in case I mess up. Okay. So then I'm going to go back. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that background or not. Just depends. So here's my first guy. He's on top of everything, so I leave him alone. Here's my second guy. He's back behind. My third guy is there. Fourth guy is there. Fifth guy is there. Sixth guy. My last guy I'm going to put over here. Just to get them straightened out where I want them. Okay, now I don't necessarily want them all in this straight line. This is annoying. It's too crowded. Actually, they're a little bigger than I wanted anyway. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this guy alone. I'll place him later. I don't do anything to this guy at all. This is the first guy that I will do some effects to. So I can either do all my effects right away or I can tilt them how I want them. So I think for the sake of, I'm going to tilt them first. So I'm going to take this guy here. I'm going to make him a teeny smaller. And then I'm going to tilt him a little bit. Now the next guy, I'm going to click on him. And I'm going to tilt him a little more and make him a little smaller. And okay, next guy, I'm going to tilt a little more. And make them a little smaller. And keep going and going and going in that direction. I can adjust all this stuff later. And the last guy will be the smallest and the tiltiest. Okay, now I have to decide where I want to put these guys. So I'll put this guy. I might even have somebody partially off my screen too. Well, that guy really got big in one spot. I have no idea how I'm doing this. If you don't know what guy you're on, then you can always click the layers. And that'll guide you to what guy is next. But then weird stuff happens, like what's happening now with my background. It's like all of a sudden my background's moving and I can't move my guy. I don't know why. See, it switches over. I don't understand why it does that. Maybe I have to go in the middle? No. Ah. Okay. This guy I'll try. Okay. He's a little too tilty. So I'm just going to do all my adjustments. Here's my next guy. And my next guy. I kind of like the idea of their hoods kind of showing. Their heads a little bit. And then this guy. And then my final guy. I really don't want my final guy to be like off the side totally. So once I get him on there, then I might have to do my other adjustments. Or something like that. Okay, on my first guy, I leave him alone. So I'm just going to poke the eyeball of my first guy. My second guy, I'm going to put a, two things. I'm going to make him a little more transparent, and I'm going to put a blur on him. So first thing I'm going to do is go blur, motion blur, and then I'm going to turn this in the direction that I want, and then I'm going to create a little bit of motion. Now that's way too much for my first guy, so I'm going to just do just a slight, because then by the time I get to my last guy, you can't even see him. So like my first one, it says distance 1. Maybe I'll go distance 7 for my first guy. Then I'm going to go to my second guy and go filter, blur, motion blur, maybe tilt it a little bit more since he's tilted more, And then I'll go up to maybe 15, just a little bit more. And consecutively do each one a little bit more. Filter, blur, motion blur again. Now it's at 16. Now I'll go to maybe a little bit more so you can tell. And then you got to see where your dial is, if that's where you want it. And then I'm going to go to my next one. Filter, blur, motion blur. Change it a little bit, maybe the direction, and then add a few more. It's got to be obviously blurrier from the one before it. And then my final one, filter, blur, motion, and then the last ones you won't even hardly be able to see. Okay. Now my first guy again. Remember, my guy here is still there. He's just hidden. So my first guy, I need to make him a little bit more transparent. So I'm going to go from like 100 to like maybe 90%. We'll go 90 for the first guy. Second guy, oops. What's 100? Okay, 90. The next guy, I'll go down to 80. We'll go 80 for the next guy. You don't have to necessarily use this as a guide. It's just because I don't want them to be totally gone. The next one I'll do like 75. Second to the last one I'll do maybe 70. And then the last one, these are pretty blurry because the guy is really moving, but the last one I'll go like 63. So you can hardly see those back people, but okay. So now I'm going to poke the eyeball and get my first guy on there again. Yeah, let me pause my recording. Hold on. Okay, so now on the first guy, we need to put a shadow behind him, a drop shadow. So you click on the effects, layer styles, go to drop shadows, and go to the high drop shadow, and click that, and that puts a nice little shadow. And then if you click the effects, you can move that shadow to wherever you want it. So someday I hope they give you an ability to put a shadow, like connect it and make it go down on the street or whatever. But for now, I just want to offset this from the other ones behind them. Okay, then once you do that, we have to decide if this background is a little bit too busy. So a couple of things you can do. You can go to image, adjust color, remove color from the background, and just have the guy be in color. That will show him off a little bit. You could actually go to enhance, adjust color, adjust hue and saturation. If you click colorize, you can change the color to whatever color you want, and it'll be monochromatic. So the whole thing will just be black and white in one color. So you find a color that you think looks good. Is that it? Would you want to match the blue jeans? Do you want to go with the greens because of the green sweatshirt? There's some orange in there on his sweatshirt, or do we just go with purple, which has nothing to do with anything? So I'm going to go with a kind of a sepia yellowish color, yellow brownish. Okay, now I have to incorporate my word in there. I still don't know if the tilts are really what I want, but I have to, at some point I have to, maybe I want to do something where all the feet match up. Where this guy's foot should be like closer over here so all the feet kind of match up a little bit. So you just have to decide what you want to do for that. Okay. Then I'm going to find my word. Which word should I put on here? I don't care. I said, geez, whatever you want. What's this move called? All right, I'll just put names. It's for that bit. All right. So then I want to find a font that is kind of maybe streety looking. There's a word. Graffiti-ish. There is actually graffiti as a font, I think. I don't know if I've done yet. Oh, what the heck? Graphite something? I don't think that's it. Ink pen. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So then I have to decide, how am I going to incorporate it in here? Can I make it bigger, smaller? What color should I do? I'll put it like, I can put it underneath this area here since this is kind of arcing over. Or I could put it up here to make it be less obtrusive. I could put it over on this side, but I think that the balance is off because there's a lot of stuff over here, not as much over here. So I should probably put it down here. And then what I can do is I can perspective it. So if I go up to image, I think it'll, I don't know if it'll let me do it unless I, no, free transform and skew. Skew will just give me like this effect, the sideways thing. So what I really want to do is perspective. So what I'm going to do is go over to my layer and I'm going to go and say simplify layer. Now it's a picture. Now I can go up to image, transform, perspective, and I can make it go like that and stretch it that direction. I'm going to do it again. So it looks like it's going down the street. I'm so sick of being sick. All right. So now what I want to do is take that and maybe do like an overlay and see how it looks in some of these different modes to make it blend in. So linear burn, color burn, multiply, darken, dissolve, normal, lighten, screen, linear dodge, overlay looks like it might be the most, or soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, pin light, hard mix, difference, exclusion, hue. I wonder if I can control the hue. Color, luminosity, that's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to go with overlay for now because I like seeing the cracks of the street and stuff in between. And then I have to decide, is that the color I want? I can go back up to adjust color, adjust hue and saturation, and I can change my hue with my colorize. So I can make it be more blue, red, saturation up. You know, I can make it match up with the greens. There's red in his skin, or his orange in his sweatshirt. Is that too hard to read, that font? Might have been a bad example. Now here's, I just beveled it, so that like popped it up off the ground a little bit, and that helped to read it. So unbeveled, it looks like this. Beveled, it looks like this. Unbeveled, beveled. Maybe try a different bevel. Maybe do an impression one. That looks like it's like pounded into the streets, kinda. So like brickwork. So maybe I'll do that one. And this is my original picture that I took it from. And in some cases, it might be good to take this picture, oops, and go like this with it. Select one of these, and then do this. And drag that into my picture. and see if it looks better with that back behind my first guy. And I'll show you in a second. There's his leg. Sometimes that helps to kind of focus our attention a little bit on, I'm going to put a shadow on that too. Focus our attention on that first guy a little bit, because the background is, depending on if the background is busy or plain. And then I'm going to do a, I'll try a bevel and see what happens. Might be too much. And then I'm going to move this guy to be on top of, I got to make him a little bigger again. Now, if I go really close up to my guy and I see these kind of rigid edges of white, you can either blur those or you can erase them. I prefer to do a little bit of blurring because erasing sometimes chunks into it. If I go up here and I do a little bit of blurring, it doesn't look so like cut out like a scissors. But if you don't do this close up and you do it far away, it makes your whole figure look blurry, and you don't want that. It almost, oh, look at his fingers. Oh my God. They look terrible. Look like skeleton fingers.
If I do 4 of them, instead of like 5 or 6, is that okay?
No, you have to have 5 minimum. Sorry. Because it has to be in 5 total, including the original. Because you always have to have odd numbers. Even numbers don't look good. Whenever you're doing things like you're placing stuff for like a photo or something like that, you always want to place things in odd numbers.
So, how do I copy and paste the cutout to get add another one?
Hold on a second. I got to finish my recording.